Yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Okay, so we're starting in
Okay.
three, two, one.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So, welcome everybody to another fireside chat with a very special guest. So, I've known him like for I would say decades, uh, and it's a pleasure to have you first off. And thank you so much for doing this at a late hour.
No.
Let me introduce KVMP Kiran. We used to call him that back. Now I think he's re-christianed his name to only Maruti Konduri. I think it's in post BTech days. So Maruti Kiran is an entrepreneur. He scaled Cracku, which is a platform to help crack exams such as CAT, as you might be knowing,
Yeah.
common aptitude test for MBA schools in India. I think they've gotten into railways and all of the other competitive exam markets. They have millions of users hitting the site. They have over, I think, 250,000 downloads on the Android Play Store with more than 4.7 star. He's been doing it for bootstrap for more than 8, 9 years. And his two co-founders, one of them also happens to be his spouse. Uh, Plus, the other member is also his classmate, extremely highly qualified. And his own pedigree is IIT Bombay, computer science, plus IIM Ahmedabad. Sayali, his wife, is also IIM Ahmedabad. And Srikant, his third co-founder, is also from IIT Bombay. So, first off, great pleasure having you here. Thank you
Yeah.
again for
Likewise.
accepting on a short notice. So, the reason for the podcast or was the following. So I wanted, to be able to like mine your head on your journey,
Mm-hmm.
more specifically with the lows, because I've seen your scale, etc. And I've also somewhere roughly around the same time returned back to India. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to first ask and kick off with the most important question: how were your days in IIT Bombay, and how many girlfriends did you have, etc.
Uh, Actually, IIT Bombay was not a good time in my life. I think just to give you a background, pre-IIT, I was doing quite well in life. I was studying well. I was doing. I had a goal that I wanted to get into IIT, and this goal was there. Like my dad used to tell me since I was like in seventh and eighth, and I had an elder brother. I have an elder brother who is 2 years older than me, who went to IIT Madras. So the yeah, so the journey, the goal was like very clear to me. The purpose, so to say, about what the purpose should be for a day was very clear to me from my eighth stand or so. Like I had to study well, I had to do well academically and get into IIT. But once I got into IIT, suddenly you feel like you're goalless. You don't really know what to do next. And because I was so driven to get into IIT, and once you get there, you are completely confused. Now you don't really know what is the purpose of coming here. Okay, which is unfortunate. That is so much immaturity on my part, and also I feel I was not guided properly. I felt on some days I feel that if I actually went to IIT Madras, where I had an elder brother who also didn't do too well in IIT, maybe he could have guided me better. He could have told me that okay, these are not the things that you should do. These are things you should do, or how you can like realign yourself or realign your goals. So those 4 years in IIT, I was a perennial underachiever. I didn't do very well, and it is not just about underachieving in general. Because I was underachieving, and yeah, it was kind of new to me because I used to do well academically till then. It was I also struggled a lot with confidence. There were many issues, so it was in general a fairly unhappy time in my life. Uh, but things really changed after I got a job in Rediff. So I worked in Rediff after I passed out of IIT. Rediff again was not a very coveted job. In fact, when we were sitting for placements, I did not get placed for the first like 9 or 10 days. So I think I gave some around 10 job interviews. I didn't qualify for any one of them. Rediff was the 11th or 12th job that I actually got. But when I joined Rediff, it was actually very good. It was very good also because it was not a very coveted job. And I actually started doing well in the job because many of the people who were in Rediff suddenly looked at me like, okay, this guy is from IIT Bombay Computer Science. He must be like some sort of super good coder, all of these things, which is not the case. But I was given a lot of responsibility just based on my pedigree. And because I was also treated better, and I also used to feel that okay, in Rediff at least I can do well. I didn't have these confidence issues. And once you start getting your paycheck, even though it was not a lot of money, it was a very small money, so to say. But still, when you are financially independent, you start feeling more confident. So things really started changing for me once I got into Rediff. And then I gave CAT again. And this time I got a good percentile. And then I was very clear that, okay, I have a second chance. And I prepared very hard for my interviews. Like earlier also in when I gave CAT in IIT also I got some shortlist, but I was not able to convert any one of them because again, like I was saying, I was super underconfident. because it was just that phase in your life where you're not able to succeed. Whatever you're trying, you're just failing. And that reinforces, like, if things are not going well, you just can't somehow crack an interview. It won't happen. Because I believe in processes. If you keep doing the right things, then eventually nearly everything will start working out. Momentum is a big deal in life, in everything, in startups, everywhere. So in IIT, my momentum was not with me. So all the interviews I failed. But after I joined TEDF, I did well in CAT. This time I prepared very hard for interviews. And I cracked all of them actually, except one interview in IIM, I think Cozy Code. Every other interview I converted because I was really on. And then I got into IIM. I did well in IIM because again, it was a positive start. I was more confident. I was more responsible, more mature, many of these things. And I had what are they saying? Yeah, I had a PPO. I got a good internship. I converted it and I got a PPO. I joined Barclays. There again, I didn't like it. I was not happy with the job because what I expected from the job and what I was actually doing was very different. I expected the job to be like super intellectually stimulating. It was not intellectually stimulating. It was fairly clerical. And the money was good, but the money was good only because I was converting it into INR. If I wanted to settle in Hong Kong or Singapore, from their standpoint, I was living a middle class life, proper middle class life, where I was more or less taking public transport every day. Good public transport, I won't complain, but still public transport. And if I have to stay there and settle there, I realized that it is not a great life. If I'm converting it into INR, I would feel, oh my God, this is so much money. But if I'm staying in Singapore, it is not so much money. It is good money, but it is a middle class money, not even upper middle class money by Singapore standards. Then I realized it made no sense. Why am I? And I also felt that my parents are slightly getting old. My brother is also abroad. If I'm also abroad and we are not really doing some rocket science, I was not doing rocket science. If I was pursuing some rocket science kind of a thing, which those kind of opportunities are not available in India, it makes some sense. Here I'm doing a clerical job. I'm just sitting here to convert the money I'm receiving into INR and feeling happy about it at the end of the month. I realized it's not working out. And around that time, I actually lost my job. It was because firstly, I think I was demotivated. I was not doing a great job. Secondly, there were a lot of cuts. My entire team was sacked. If I was again achieving very well, or if I was overachieving, I would have found another job in the same company. But I was not doing too well. I was not driven. There were some interviews with other teams. Basically, my boss's boss wanted me to interview inside the firm, but I didn't want to do it. Once I got fired, I thought this is a new start. Let me again take ownership. I wanted to take control back. Where I felt when I was working in that job, I was just going with the flow, which made me unhappy. Then we came back to India. I got in touch. I was always in touch with Srikanth because I kind of knew that if I wanted to start it up at some point in my life, it would be with him. Okay, this was something that I was quite certain. So I was always in touch with him, even though we kind of drifted apart. I was always in touch, and there was also a couple of other friends. Basically, there were like 3-4 guys. I knew that if I was starting up, it would be with one of these guys. Was something I was quite certain. So I was in touch with all of them. And finally, I and Srikanth got in touch with each other, and then we started Kraku. When we started Kraku, I can discuss that later. But if you have any questions or anything, let me know.
No. Wow. I think first of a couple of points. One is I wanted to go back to the IIT JEE. So one of the things you probably might not know was so because we went to the same IIT coaching center, which is very prestigious. It's called Ramaya. By the way, Ramaya sir is 95 now. He's on the. But circling back to that, for those of you who are watching, so coaching is very intense. For those of you, many of you probably gone through coaching. Ours was the next level. I would say we used to wake up at 4:30 a.m. So Kiran was one of the toppers there, and we were like, by we I mean me. We were a little bit back, and so we were like, there was reverence and respect because he was switched on at that time. I wasn't as much. So it was very. I can completely understand that intensity. It's actually I'm sure you know about this. It's called astronaut syndrome. Like an astronaut, once his whole life's aim is to like get onto like moon, but now Musk has made it Mars. And then once you finish the moon and you come back, you're like stuck in traffic. You're like solving world problems. So perhaps that's what happened with you with IIT Bombay, and then you've been very authentic and candid in saying genuine in sort of saying that. I think it happens to a lot of people, and then but your kids at that time, and you don't share these. There's no counseling, like you said. Completely can empathize that journey. So want to go back to a little bit more about the the seed of entrepreneurship, right? You're extremely intellectual stimulation is there, etc. But the trajectory, did you start something in college? Like, did you have that draw in terms of, okay, I'll do some leadership role here or there, let me make some app, let me hustle? Was that Kira already there? Or later, when you were displaced, right, you were saying, okay, let me start. And then, because I've seen typically seeds germinate from much, much younger. I started my first business at 11, 12 when I was in Kuwait, but, it didn't go anywhere, but obviously I failed. Talk us a little bit about that aptitude, that proclivity that had grown. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I always wanted to start up. Okay. I was not confident that I would start up, but I always wanted to start up. It was also because I kind of knew that there were certain things I didn't want to do. Like I couldn't picture myself working in the same company for like say 10 years, 15 years. My dad worked in State Bank of Hyderabad and then shifted to State Bank of India. He worked in the same company for like some 40 years and he retired there. I could not see myself doing that for sure. There are many other reasons also. I felt that uh, there were things I felt maybe I can do a PhD is what I felt. Okay, I thought PhD might be something I can do. Teaching job is something maybe I could do. Like after doing PhD, becoming a professor was something I could anticipate. I could picture myself doing. I could not picture myself working in the same company for a lot of time. That was not something I could picture myself. So in IIT, actually, I was always slightly strategic about my experiences. Basically, I always feel that you should collect a lot of experiences because they will help you in the future. So in IIT, I again and Srikanth started a football magazine. We kind of knew that it will go nowhere. I always knew that it will go nowhere. Okay, but I just felt that if I start a football magazine, I'll gain some experience which will help me later. And I was quite certain about it. It is very strategic and also shows maturity at that age. I was around 19 or so, without a lot of entrepreneurship experience or any family member being an entrepreneur, or even myself actually saying confidently at that time that I would become an entrepreneur. None of that was there, but I knew that some sort of an experience like that, where I start an initiative on my own, will help me. That experience will help me. And it helped me actually. At that time only, it failed miserably after 3-4 months. But I realized immediately that okay, at least the team, and one of the reasons why it failed was because the team was remote, where there were like 6-7 people, all from different cities, and coordinating with them was such a pain. And at that time only, I realized that if I start something, I should ensure that all the team members are in the same place. And this I felt, and I actually remember coming to that conclusion in 2008. Okay, when startup was not like in vogue, I myself was not sure whether I'll start up. Nothing of that sort was there. Once I went into IIM, I was seriously considering startup. But again, I was not sure what to do, where to start up, which company to start up, with whom to start up. None of that was clear. But I was always, that bug was there that I should start up someday. And once I joined an investment bank, because I was getting frustrated in my job, I was thinking more and more seriously about startup. But again, I didn't have the courage to take that jump, because a paycheck at the end of the month, even if you're not enjoying your job, a paycheck is a paycheck. It gives you some stability. It makes many things bearable. So even if you're not enjoying the job, a paycheck would mean that I traveled a lot actually. In those 2 years, 2.5 years, I was in investment bank. In Southeast Asia, I think I covered maybe 7-8 countries. And I used to stay in good, very nice hotels. Okay. I used to go to very nice beaches. All the nice beaches in Southeast Asia, I covered. So that is a good lifestyle. And actually, after that, after starting up, the only foreign country I went to was Thailand. I think I've made one trip to England, but other than that, and Thailand is cheap. And now I can't really afford to stay in the hotels that I stayed when I was in my first year of investment banking. Even now, okay, I think I'm doing. My company is doing okay. It is doing comfortably, but still, the amount of money that I used to spend at that time is much more than what I can afford to spend now. That actually shows how comfortable life was at that time. So having said that, but I was getting frustrated. And in the investment banking time, I was thinking seriously about startup. Very seriously, I was considering startup. But actually, after I lost my job also, I didn't have the courage to start up. This actually shows how much inertia was there. So after I lost my job, then I worked under a professor as a research assistant. I found a job in Hong Kong because my wife was still working and she was expecting her bonus in 6 months. Bonus in investment banking is a big deal. So you would want to wait to collect your bonus before you actually quit. So she wanted to wait till she collects her bonus, and I had 6 months to figure out what I wanted to do, which is again pretty cool. And at that time, I approached a professor, an Indian professor, very nice guy, who was a finance professor in Hong Kong University, I think HK University. Under him, I worked for around 4 or 5 months. And at that time, he gave me a project in coding. So suddenly I started again coding after Rediff. Like after 4 or 5 years, I used to extract a lot of information from a lot of files. So I was doing Python coding, and I did good coding there actually. It gave me a lot of a lot of satisfaction that I was doing something productive, which I never felt while I was doing investment banking. Second, I felt more confident about my tech abilities. I felt that okay, running a startup is not super difficult. Uh, Writing code is not super difficult. I can do it. And more importantly, I realized that I can't do a PhD. I approached him to do a PhD, where I wanted to work under him for around a year and then apply for my PhD abroad in finance or economics, and then continue PhD, become a professor. That was a plan I wanted to pursue. But after 4 or 5 months, I realized it's not working out. I don't think I could work on the same project for a lot of time. I wanted a different kind of stimulus. Then he was a very nice guy again, and he and I had many heart-to-heart conversations, which again I never had in investment banking. Where this person, I worked with him for only 4 or 5 months, but he was kind of a mentor to me, not just in finance, but even otherwise. And one thing he told me, which suddenly made everything very clear, was that he's a finance professor. So he told me that because you are very well educated, you have nice pedigree, so you have an option. This option is to start up, and if you fail, what is the worst thing that will happen? You can easily get a very good job. So this is the option you have, and you should exercise that option. So it is like in finance, if you have an option which is very cheap, you should buy it. You should not waste it. Then I thought, yeah, it made a lot of sense. So I felt at that time I was 27. So I thought I'll start up, I'll figure it out for 3 years. If by 30 I'm not able to crack entrepreneurship, then I'll do a PhD. Then I'll again come back to him. I'll work for a year or so, and then I can go abroad. That I was quite certain. That was a very nice advice that he gave. And then I started up. Once I had this conversation with him, I was convinced that I had to start up.
Wow. That's some good counsel towards the end and touch to us. So I just want to again go back to the original trajectory in terms of chronology. So IIT Bombay, you made the magazine, didn't work out. You identified, your future co-founder. So that's awesome. And you worked at Rediff, then IIM at Ahmedabad. So did the entrepreneurship piece, sort of that seed, germinate a lot more there? I think you did the batch of 2010 to 12, if I'm not wrong.
I was in 2009 to 11 in IMA.
Got it. Yeah. So what were
IMA 2 years were like golden years of my life. So basically everything was working out. Whatever I wanted, I was just getting. I was doing very well academically. I met my future wife. I got a very good internship, and I converted the internship into a full-time job. I got a PPO. I went abroad for the first time. So everything was going very well. So there was nothing like I was not getting or I was unhappy about. Yeah. So those 2 years I feel are like super golden years in my life. And at that time, actually, my entrepreneurship bug was at its lowest because I was just very happy. If I'm very happy, I was not really considering entrepreneurship or what I wanted to do. So I considered entrepreneurship when I was in IIT when I was not happy. And I really thought of entrepreneurship when I was in an investment bank, again, when I was not super happy. So I think they're on some level related.
Got it. Yeah. That's actually a very profound point. You got to be happy, and then if that insight comes in, you act on that insight, as opposed to like many people, their fourth drink or fifth drink down, and that they make a decision. Cool. So then, okay, now you're back to, so you are definitely not happy with the high paycheck. Some similar trajectory happened to me too. In New York, was earning 6 figures, miserable, American Express, just not selling credit cards, but doing the underwriting, got laid off, displaced. So you're back, you work, in interim, at least you meet the professor. Then what happened? What was the transition? What was the mindset before you and Sayali sort of came back to India? What were you thinking? Did you have ideas?
Basically, when I got fired, Sayali wanted me to start up. She was very clear that you would be a good entrepreneur, you should start up. I was not confident. I told her, no, I don't want to start up. I don't want to take that risk. Even though I used to discuss entrepreneurship with her many times, when the time came to really take that step, I was hesitant. Then I told her I'll work under this prof. Then Sayali told me you'll work under him, but you won't be happy. You will come back to entrepreneurship. And then we had a big fight actually. I remember one day we had a fight because I felt that she was pushing me to do entrepreneurship and I didn't want to do it. Then I went to this prof. I worked for 3-4 months. I realized it's not working out. Then both of us decided that we'll go back to India. And it was good time actually. She was also quite supportive. We moved back to India. When we were moving back to India, the idea was not finalized. The team was not finalized. But we just felt that we'll go and we'll figure it out. Because once we took that call, it became much more peaceful actually. When I was working under the professor also, there was some uncertainty about what will happen, what will I do. Not a lot. I was happy. Even after I got fired also, I was quite happy. I was not pained. Only when I was working in the investment bank, I was pained. But after, when I was working under him also, I was quite happy, quite relaxed. I used to have a tram. It's like a 1 hour journey to the university and 1 hour back, and very scenic. So, and I used to code, and I used to come back, have a beer. There used to be a very nice pub, and wait for my wife. She would come from my investment bank. So I would be drinking beer at that pub, and then she would come. So very nice, relaxed 3-4 months, no pain at all. But that bug was there, that what would I do next? That was uncertain. But once we took that call to come back to India, it was smooth. After we decided to come back to India, then again I started I was again on. These 3-4 months also I was slightly relaxed. I was doing some work with the professor, but not on. But once we decided to come back to India, once we sold everything off, once we sat on that plane, I was again completely on, and we started working. Then I convinced Srikanth to join us. He had his own issues. I don't want to get into them, but he joined us after 2-3 months after we came back to India. So in these 2-3 months also, I and Saili were working on the startup. He joined us after 2-3 months, and then
one second, Maruti. So I just want to backtrack a little bit there. Would you just, for the benefit of the audience, so you both decided to, you were unsure of the idea, seems like, but you were sure that you both wanted to kick off together, you and Saili.
Yeah, we were sure that we want to kick off together for sure. What we were a little uncertain is whether to start up in Hong Kong or whether to start up in India. So I considered some options in Hong Kong. One of the options we considered were, I wanted to open a South Indian hotel, which is just a takeaway in Hong Kong. Okay. This is something I thought, where I felt we'll keep the rental cost low. There is definitely a demand, because I wanted South Indian restaurants and I had to travel for an hour to get a good masala dosa. Okay. From where I stayed. And I felt it made no sense. There are so many such people. So if you're just ordering takeaway and if you're making a good masala dosa, it will sell. That was for sure. Small menu and you sell, you'll get it, is what I felt. Then I went and talked to a few hotel guys. The guy I used to go every week or every 2 weeks. I used to travel 1 hour one way to have a good masala dosa. That guy told me, see, you're an educated guy. What do you know about running a hotel? Why do you want to open this? This is you're going to sink your money. And it made sense. When again, if you are taking an objective assessment, it made a lot of sense. Even though I put some time and effort and thought and dreams into opening a South Indian hotel. If you take an unbiased decision, it made a lot of sense about what he said. Then I thought, okay, I don't have a lot of money to burn. I worked only for 2 years. I had some savings, but I can't burn it through. Then I felt, okay, this is not working out. What else can I do in Hong Kong? Then I realized I don't have the network. I don't know a lot of people there. Okay. I don't know the market. Many of the people there speak Cantonese. I can't speak Cantonese. I can't speak either Mandarin. It made no sense. I don't have any competitive advantage. If I'm in India, because of my education, at least one door will open. I have to go there. I can talk to VCs. At least the talk is very easy. Okay. Whether they'll invest or not is difficult, but at least getting into that room is easy, because people will know the degrees that I have. Similarly, even if I'm looking to sell something, any customer also will at least listen to what I'm saying. In Hong Kong, that is not the case. So I felt I don't have any competitive advantage here. So it made a lot of sense for me to start up in India.
Wow. Excellent. So you guys returned back. And I remember at that time, I think I saw one of your blog posts. You were actually, for the first version of your CAT marketing, Cracku marketing, you had put physical flyers around and you were around. And then I think you distributed maybe 5,000, 10,000, some large order of number of people. Walking about that first 1 year of 1-2 years. Before I think you hit the SEO piece, and we were conversing at that time, and then started taking off organically, right? So talk us about the first 2 years.
So basically in 2014, we came back. We thought of starting up Kraku, which is for CAT. We came back in March. We finalized the idea around April, May. Again, I was very clear that I had to start with something. I don't want to just sit and think about what is the ideal plan. I thought we should start with something and then we should get it going. And I got fired in July of the earlier month of July in the earlier year. July 2013, I got fired. So I wanted to launch Cracku definitely by July of 2014, because psychologically I wanted to launch it within 1 year of getting fired. This I was very sure. So we pushed, and we launched Cracku on 8th of July. I got fired on 12th of July. So within 1 year, we just pushed something out, and we thought, okay, let us start with this. Okay. And before we launched, we did some marketing. There were Facebook groups, Pagal Guy. We posted a lot. We collected emails. And once we launched it on 8th of July, we sent a mail to all the emails that we collected. So we spent around 2-3 months in collecting these emails, okay, and actually pushing our product. We received around 3,000, 4,000 emails of actual CAT preparing students. These were good emails, okay, not like random database. We put a lot of it on many Facebook groups. Somehow we collected them. We used to answer a lot of doubts on Facebook groups for free, okay. And then we used to spend hours and hours answering these doubts, and then people knew us. So somehow we collected this data. We sent a mail to everyone once we launched. On the first day, we got 3 sales. Okay,
3 sales.
3 sales. I was disappointed because 3 sales was not a lot of money. Okay, and I felt if you're making this
cost
1,500 per sale, so 4,500. Okay, 4,500 on the first day. I felt 4,500 is not good enough. Okay, because it was not easy to maintain that 3 sales every day, because the first day there's some hype, you'll get some sales. And even if you're getting 4,500 every day, still doesn't make a lot of sense. We have our costs, rent, all of these things. So I remember after we got those 3 sales and there was nobody else coming to our site, I went for a walk and slightly disappointed. But I came back. I thought, okay, things will improve tomorrow, the next day and all. For the next 7 days, we had no sales, 0 sales. Okay, that was super depressing. Okay, because we felt, okay, what are we doing here? Okay, made no sense. Okay, we quit our job. Basically, we got fired. We didn't try. Shifted everything, came back to India. We got 3 sales, and then no sales for 7 days, 8 days.
Yeah,
very depressed, very demotivated. Didn't know what to do. We were like trying, hoping for the best. Then on the 8th day, one girl purchased our package, and I know her name. I still remember her name. I don't want to say it. I actually keep track of where she is now.
Wow.
Because she is very important for for us. Because when she purchased, we got suddenly very happy, very excited. All the 3 of us came back and we started like discussing what should we do now. Because suddenly it was like oxygen to somebody who is like suffocating.
Yeah. And
then
how much
we realized
was the package, may I ask?
1,500, just 1,500. It's not a lot, okay, but it is just the fact that for 8 days we had no sale, and then after for 7 days we had no sale, and on the 8th day this girl purchased on her own. Okay, she just came to our site, somehow checked it, and then purchased.
Wow.
And then we decided that, okay, see, if people come to our site, then they will purchase. If people are not coming to our site, they won't purchase. Simple logic, okay.
Yeah.
But that girl's purchase reminded us that that is what we should do. So from then on, what we started doing is every week on the weekend we used to give a free mock. And because there's a free mock, people used to come to our site. And when people come to our site, people used to purchase. And this we started doing. So we started putting effort in making good mocks. And we used to give a mock for free for 2 days on the weekend. And people used to come, and then people used to come take the mock and purchase our courses. Then we started getting slowly some sales. And then we figured it out, and it started working out.
Wow. Yeah, I also have that a similar experience. One of the first customers who purchased my product still have the name and the photo and everything. Very, very critical, very important. Yeah. Excellent. So now you have an idea that you worked very hard for. You've seen the not the valley of abyss, but you've seen some part of the abyss, and all 3 of you are in it together, which is excellent. And you're going through similar emotions. What happened next? Because you're bootstrapped, right? How did you? So the mock is one way, etc. Talk us about the next 3-4 years, because I remember your results are pretty good. Like, I don't know, but you already hit like a significant amount of MRR. Then talk us about how you nailed that absolute CAT organically. And if you're comfortable sharing, I also remember you telling you had inbound, was it fundraising interest from Bangalore and an acquisition offer from, one of the unicorns at that time. So till that point, and then the next segment we'll focus on how you branched out to all of the other competitive exams and, what's your future like? Yeah.
So basically in 2014, we started this. So we are getting some sales, but not a lot of money. Okay, we are getting some regular sales so that we are at least not demotivated. We are getting some traction, not a lot. Then we thought, okay, in 2014, 2015, funding was in vogue. Everybody was raising funds. And at that time, we didn't know better. We thought, okay, we also should raise funds. If you really ask us, why do you want to raise funds? We would say, because everybody else is raising funds. All our friends are raising funds. So we should also raise funds. That was it. Okay. Very stupid, but that's what we thought. Then we approached a lot of VCs. VCs showed some interest, but there were two types of VCs. Nearly every VC replied to us. Nearly every VC replied to us. But most of the VCs wanted us to talk to their associates. Because every associate in a VC basically has a target. Every week he has to talk to, like, say, 10 startups. And he has to present each startup on the weekend at some weekly like meeting. That was why they were talking to us. We realized that an associate spends like half an hour with us. He has no interest in investing in us. He just wants us to be like some in his presentation, some name in his presentation. Then we stopped talking to VCs, but then we got some inbound requests from a VC. This was through a referral actually. One guy, my boss in Rediff, started up. He is now a decent entrepreneur, big entrepreneur. So at that time, also he had some entrepreneurship experience. So he referred the VC to us. So VC approached us directly. It was interesting. At that time, I was not super interested, and we were traveling. So I replied back to him saying, okay, see, right now I'm traveling. I'll come back to you next week. And they really liked my attitude. At that time, I was just like traveling. I had no way I could contact them. And I forgot about them 1 week later. And they again came back to me saying, okay, are you back? Can we talk now? And then I said, yeah, we can talk now. And they are like how usual VCs think that, okay, if this guy is not giving us any bhav, he is like doing very well. And they were very interested. We had some meetings. They wanted us to tell the story. Okay, what is the story of Kraku? All of these things, I think I did a good job in presenting. We thought about it, and we had a good, like, big plan, big picture presentation. They were very impressed, and they gave us a term sheet. And I was happy with the term sheet. But I don't know what happened. 2 days later, they took back the term sheet. They just, and they were very rude when they took it back also. I felt this is not okay. Basically, they gave us a term sheet. They gave us a certain valuation. I was happy. I told them I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. I told them I went to Bangalore. So by this time, I think I traveled to Bangalore 2-3 times. My entire team also traveled to Bangalore 2-3 times for them. And they came to Hyderabad once. They met us and they gave us a term sheet. I told them I'll get back to them in a day or two. And suddenly they took it back. And they were very rude when they took it back. They were kind of insulting me and my team. So, and at that time I felt there was nothing I could say to them. Okay, I had no cards. They had all the cards. If you are a entrepreneur who is not making money, is not making enough money, who is not profitable, the VCs hold all the cards. Either you give them this FOMO, like when I told you that I was busy, I'm traveling. Either that, which is stupid, that can't be sustained for long, and that is just an act. Okay. Or you have proper cash. You are a cash generating firm, then you can talk to them on equal terms. That's what I realized at the time, because very clearly they were being unfair, they were being unethical. They wasted a lot of time for us and just took it back without giving us a reason as to why they took it back. So at that time we decided that, okay, we have to generate cash. We have to be a bootstrap company because I don't want to deal with these kind of people. And again, I wanted some cards myself. The VC shouldn't have all the cards.
Yeah.
There are many other things also. I realized these guys, the way VC works is it invests in 100 companies. Okay. It wants 2 companies to become very big. Yeah. And it is okay with 98 companies failing. Okay. So basically, if you're looking at it this way, a company, if say a company like mine, the possibility that it will be a 100 million company, 100 million is say around 800 crores company, is say 5%. The probability that it will be a 100 crore company is say 30%. The probability that it will be a 50 crore company is say another 20%. The probability that it will do nothing is say another 50%. Overall, you have some probabilities associated with every payout. A company like mine will never be a $1 billion company. I was okay with that. Okay. But it has a good chance of becoming a 100 crore company, a 20-30% chance. I was very happy with that because 100 crores is a lot of money, of money. My life will change. My children's life will change. Everything will change. Yeah. A VC doesn't want that. A VC will say, if you are giving me this probability, your expected value, okay, you're just multiplying 100 crores with 30%, 50 crores with 30%, and say 800 crores with say 10%, and you'll get an expected value of your company of say some 80 crores. Yeah. He says, go for broke, invest in everything, expand like crazy, and you become a $10 billion company. The probability of that happening is say 0.1%. Yeah. On 99.9%, you'll go broke.
Yeah.
The VC wants those kind of odds. The expected value of your company when you are playing the VC game will, instead of being 80 crores, will be say 100 crores. Okay. But when you're living that life, you don't want those odds. You don't want 0.1% probability that you'll be worth 10 billion and 99.9% probability that you'll be worth nothing.
That's good.
I would rather 30% probability I'll be worth say 50 crores.
Yeah.
These odds are much better to me. Okay. And I realized that a VC doesn't want this kind of a paycheck. He wants all entrepreneurs to go for broke. He'll invest in 100 companies. He wants one guy to hit a 6. And 99 guys getting out for golden ducks doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
I realized it's not in my interest. That was the other reason where I felt I don't want to take VC money. Without VC money, we were actually risk-averse people. So we also grew much slower than we should have. But it is okay. Things, I think, started improving from 2017. We started in 2014. 2015, 16 also were not great years. They were slow years. It was not bad. We were not having a lot of pain. We are not growing as fast as we would. I didn't take salary for the first 5 years. So those pains were there. But in 2017, we started doing well. From 2017, we started uploading videos on YouTube. We were getting good traction there because our content is good. And when we started putting it up on YouTube, people started realizing that our content is good. Till then, only the premium subscribers knew that our content was good. So we are only expanding through word of mouth, but that is very slow mode of expansion. When we started putting good videos up on YouTube, people started realizing that our content is good. Then we started expanding faster.
Wow. So, and that's so, I mean, that's public, but how many channel subscribers do you have and what are the views, etc.?
I think we have around 1.2 lakh subscribers on our cat channel. Views are pretty good, man. We have many videos which have more than 2-3 lakh views. And yeah, I think we are doing quite okay. Now, many people, anybody who's taking cat seriously, definitely knows of Kraku, has used at least our free products. Okay. Anybody who's preparing seriously for cat would have used our free products. Free products would be any free tests on our website or our YouTube channel videos, for sure.
Yeah. Just talk us a little bit about, I want to go deeper on YouTube, but before that, I remember you also did a lot of SEO, right? Organic search. I think people, you're in a niche where people would be searching for like some basic questions, like logical, verbal reasoning. I haven't taken CAT, but I'm just assuming these. So you had some traffic there. Why did you not double down or quadruple down on that SEO?
We are doing well in SEO also even now. But the thing is, SEO, right now, it has become difficult for us to get traffic from SEO. Because a lot of ads take up the top space. Most of our traffic is from mobile. And if somebody is searching on mobile also, the first 3-4 results are premium results by Google. They won't put SEO number 1. And it is difficult to be SEO number 1. So SEO number 1 will come 4th in the list, but it is difficult to be SEO number 1. Earlier, we used to come in the top 3. Even now, we'll be in the top 3 or top 4. But if you're 3rd, with 3 ads, you'll be 6th. You'll be shown 6th on the mobile, and nobody's going to come there. You see what I'm saying, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
So we realized that going on YouTube is actually more effective because people search, and if your content is good, it will be displayed and they will come there.
Good. And are you doing the other usual, I call it the Panch Pandavas, but like Instagram, I don't know. All of them also, you're pushing all the 5 social media. Good. And what's your, want to talk a little bit about about your content strategy, because I'm also in the same game in terms of like upskilling data scientists and blockchain. Do you do like 2-3 videos a week? And what's your thumbnail and topic extraction strategy? What can you talk a little bit of that? I remember coming to your studio as well. You have a complete elaborate setup, so that's completely professionally set up. How many editors do you have? What's the content machine, like the mini Ankur Warikoo thing? Because you've got like 2-3 lakh people, right?
So mostly the content is created by me and Saili. We record videos or whatever actual technical content is there with respect to cat content. It is done either by me or Saili. We record a lot, both of us, and we have like 2 people who are editing. We have 2 editors who work with us full time. Okay. So whatever content we are putting, we have it, and we have like another separate team, which takes these videos, creates the thumbnails. They actually search for the topics. They give us suggestions about what topics to actually make videos on. So that is done by a digital marketing team. They tell us what are the topics to do. We record those videos, and these videos are edited by the editing team, again taken by the digital marketing team, which actually puts up on YouTube and other channels.
Awesome. Okay, let's circle back to the entrepreneurship track. So, talk us a little bit about that. The second part of the earlier question, which is that acquisition. If you're comfortable, what happened? Why did the talks die down, etc. And the second piece I was very interested was, so I mean, good statistics have shown that typically husband-wife entrepreneurs do really well. Like there's like a phase where there's a lot of teething issues and all, but then typically they tend to stick longer, etc. Talk us about that as well, because we see in India, perhaps universally as well, lot of now, perhaps through Shark Tank, etc. They're getting into entrepreneurship, and it's a duo. Husband wives are doing it, wives are doing it, etc. And so, talk us about both of these.
I think husband-wife duo in entrepreneurship makes a lot of sense because trust is very important. So either you should be old friends, okay, or you should be husband and wife or something like that for entrepreneurship to work, is my belief, because you should be able to completely trust your founder, your partner, okay. Like if Srikanth has my card, okay, I don't have any doubt that he will misuse the card, okay. If he has the company accounts, he has access to everything, right? Similarly, he also has trust that if I have the card, I would not misuse the funds, okay. That 100% trust should be there on your partner, okay. So having that trust on somebody for just say a year is difficult.
Yeah.
Now, if I meet one guy and we go to some, I don't know, like TIA meets or some meets, it's difficult to really start up with that kind of a person.
Yeah.
I feel even if you find the other person, that person to be like super competent, very hardworking and all, also, how can you have that trust? Trust will build only organically if you know the person for years and years and years. That is one thing. That's why I think it makes sense for a husband-wife duo to start up. Secondly, a husband-wife duo, if they start up, both of them can understand each other. Entrepreneurship is such a taxing journey. It's a very intensive journey. Now, if both of you are working on the same thing, if you are like stressed out, if your wife understands exactly why you're stressed out, it makes it easier. The marriage itself becomes slightly easier. So yeah, as long as you don't go all in, like you don't mortgage your house to start up, if you're able to live some comfortable life, a middle class life, then I think both of you should start up together, is what I would think.
Got it.
And things are different between India and the West. I think in the West, people will say you shouldn't start up husband, wife, etc., etc. I think in India, most of the companies are family-run businesses. Earlier, it used to be like brothers starting up together. Now it should be husband and wife. There's nothing wrong with that. VCs again would tell you to not do that, and I would say don't trust the VCs. VCs will say, okay, they won't invest in like husband-wife businesses. Yeah. I would say don't trust them. They don't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense coming from somebody who's seasoned, who's seen at least 6-7 years, and before that courtship. So that's probably about over a decade. Excellent. Cool. So want to talk about finally, I had one tactical question on your future distribution channels, right? Because for this is coming from my curiosity of, because I'm in a similar game. What are your future distribution channels? How do you take it to the next level? Is it hyper-focused on YouTube shorts and take these 1 lakh to like 10 lakh subscribers and drive traffic to your site? Or are you thinking of vernacular, going regional? I know you had messaged me on that aspect as well. Where you see are the distribution opportunities, and where's that compounding going to happen? B, also want to know a little bit more about, towards the end of this, we'll take up some questions as people come. What is your advice on entrepreneurs? Somebody who's watching this, on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. What is your advice to future entrepreneurs?
Distribution, basically, I believe that you shouldn't keep all your eggs in one basket as far as distribution is concerned. Like recently, we had a Telegram group, very active Telegram group of around 17,000 people, 17,000 very active, but it got banned. Okay, very randomly, one of our competitors, I feel, I'm quite certain. So one of our competitors posted some copyrighted material, not even like big copyright material. It was just somebody posted that I want to sell. If my competitor is say X, I have an account in X, I want to sell it. Okay, on a Telegram group in the middle of the night. And somebody else from X complained to Telegram Telegram is not well run. The moderation is not good. And I think they are under a lot of pressure, Telegram, with respect to this piracy, copyright and all. So they just banned our group. All this happened in the middle of the night. And we woke up to see our channel banned. And we had no way to actually get it back. We can actually build another one. It'll take some time. It's just a pain. But Telegram group is actually much easier to build as compared to, like, say, YouTube channel or say your app. So there are obviously silver linings, but this was a good distribution channel we had, which was just lost in one night recently, just 2-3 weeks back. Now we're in the middle of trying to getting it back or then figuring out what to do and all. But the point I'm making is that you should not just trust one distribution channel. You'll get screwed. You should have a wide variety of distribution channels. We have it on YouTube, we have it on Quora, we have it on, like, we used to have it on Telegram. We SEO, like you mentioned, many of the things actually are there. And you should try to expand. And whatever is working, you should try to do it. That is what we are looking at. Other than that, not much thoughts on which way the distribution will work. We'll just go with the flow. Keep your ears to the ground, see what is working, and try to expand there.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's go to the next question, which is almost the last. So what are your thoughts what's the advice for future entrepreneurs who are coming in or trying to take a plunge, looking at the Indian and particularly the edtech market?
One thing I would say is not just in edtech market, this clarity I had when I started up also, you should take entrepreneurship as a career. If you look at it as a career, not just for 2-3 years, if you're looking at it as this is something I'll do for the next 20-30 years, okay, and I'll spend the first 2-3 years just understanding the market, understanding how to be a good entrepreneur, what are the qualities. Nobody is a good entrepreneur by start, okay. You will have to figure out, look at feedback and then improve, look at feedback, improve. So if you look at it as a 20-30 year journey, which you should enjoy, then I think you'll enjoy the journey, you'll probably be successful. That is one. Second, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. And it's a very taxing journey. So you should be very optimistic. You should be a person who always looks at
elaborate on the loneliness.
Loneliness is because very few people can really understand what you're going through. If you say, for example, if I'm working in Google right now, okay, Google just laid off 12,000 people. Okay, even if I do get laid off, there are other 12,000 people. There are other people in the tech industry who would understand what it feels, what it means. When I got fired from investment banking, I used to have beer with a lot of my friends who were also in investment banking, and we used to crib together. We used to bitch together. All of us were in it together. Some people got fired, some people found jobs, but at least there was company in going through similar things. Here, nobody really knows what it feels, the pressure or the responsibility. Like at the end of every month, I have to pay salaries. As the company is growing, it is good. The revenue is growing, but the expenses are also growing. So at some point, I always worry that what will happen if 1 month I don't get the revenue for whatever reason. Okay. Then suddenly at the end of the month, I have a lot of money to pay. Okay. Right now, we're doing quite well. But I always worry that who knows how things will be 6 months later, 1 year later. Like my Telegram group got banned, right? My app might get banned. Who knows? For whatever reason, for a trivial reason, it might get banned. These are things, or many things can happen. Sometimes our YouTube is doing well now, but it might not do well 1 year later. What can we say? These issues, it is difficult to find somebody who will actually appreciate it, with whom I can talk, and for them to actually understand the significance of it. If I'm working in an investment bank, I'll find many other investment bankers who will all get exactly my fears, my stress. Now it is very difficult to find somebody who will understand it. So that's why I say it's lonely.
Got it. Cool. And so want to now, there's one question that I got privately. Want to ask about, so what's the future like? So are you going to be hyper-focused on the crack market, the cat
We are
market?
getting the cat and GMAT. We are expanding to GMAT this year. GMAT is something we are working very hard towards. We have a lot of hopes from it. I am confident that we'll do a good job there.
Yeah. And so is your traffic going to be primarily Indian focused for the next 1-2 years,
No.
or you could go international as well?
No. We are made in India for the world.
Got it. Excellent. I love that. Made in India for the world. Got it. And then so you can also see some dollar sort of inputs, which will increase the ARPU, average revenue per user. Excellent. Cool. And what are your thoughts on vernacular? Is that something, because your focus is cat? I don't know if the demographic of vernacular attempts that, but seems like the bank PO exams and the railways, there should be a huge audience there. And
There's a huge audience there, but we are actually closing down those things because we were not able to crack that market. We put effort, but we were not able to crack it. It was just a drain on our, not just resources, but even our mental space. So we are slowly shutting down most of our banking, railways, all of those things. We are hyper focused on MBA, not just CAT, ZAT, other MBA exams, Indian MBA exams, and foreign MBA exams like GMAT. That is what we are focusing on. With
excellent.
respect to vernacular, I believe that vernacular has a lot of reach. It is just that I feel we were not able to crack the vernacular market, which is one of the reasons we are shutting down banking. For example, we are very poor in Hindi. We tried to expand there, but it was difficult. For many logistical reasons, it was very difficult for us to get into Hindi. So, but vernacular, I feel, has a lot of scope. Big
May I ask?
scope.
So I'm just curious again. Why was so? Did you not go digital? Why did vernacular fail? Not work out for you because the distribution?
Because see, like I mentioned, our content is built by me and Sai. Both of us are not super comfortable in Hindi. And it is not just teaching in Hindi. Teaching in Hindi, maybe I'll be able to pick it up because I can speak Hindi, Sally can speak Hindi. But the question should be in Hindi. Who is going to proofread that? Okay. It is not just that the grammar is good. The actual terminology has to be good. The actual wording should be good. Actually accurate. What is gravity called in Hindi? Nobody knows. Okay. If I hire some Hindi guy, he might use some Shuddh Hindi. Okay. But that is not probably the Hindi that comes in the exams. So you need to have that feel for the exam. Like CAT, I and Sally have taken multiple times. All the MBA exams we have taken multiple times. GMAT also we have taken multiple times. We know exactly how the questions will be phrased.
Yeah.
Hindi was not intuitive. And for us to gain that intuitive sense would take a lot of time. We could gain it. We could take that exam 2-3 times in Hindi. But that would require us to put in a lot of time and effort, which we didn't want to do.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. Cool. Brilliant. So that brings us to one question that I have from the audience. Yeah. How do you manage time? Because your kids and spouse is also working, but how do you delineate time, personal, professional?
So basically, after I come home, I try to come home by around 6:30. I shut off my phone. I don't do any other work, no office work. I'm very on when I'm working in the office. But when I come home, I try to completely shut off.
Wow.
Like I shut off my phone. I'm not at all in touch. I'm kind of incommunicable. There are people know how to get in touch with me. My office people, important people would know how to get in touch with me if it is urgent. Okay. But that is like doomsday urgent, then they will get in touch with me. But otherwise, nothing is so serious.
We have one question. Do we have? Can you take that? Yeah. I wanted to ask, how do you recruit? Like, what are the qualities you look in a person, etc.
Recruitment. One of the things is I have interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like in the last 8 years, I think I would have interviewed around 1,000 people. I actually think I'm good at recruiting because I can guess, I can sense that person. And the qualities that I look for are responsibility. Will this guy actually do the job on his own without me having to micromanage? Can I trust this guy to, if I tell him the big picture that this is something that I want to be done, will this guy be able to go and do it in his own this way? And he should have this sense that I should do a good job. There are some people who feel that they want to do a good job. There are some people who feel that I have to just do it and then I want to go home. Now I try to see if this guy is that responsible, somebody who has self-respect, who has this value that whatever he's doing or she's doing has to be good. Those kind of things are the qualities I try to see. I don't go a lot for competence. I try to go for how much is this guy wanting to do a good job. And if that quality I can sense, then I will hire him because then I think he can pick up the skills that are needed to do it.
Wow, that was very well articulated and thoughtful. And 1,000 people is like actually staggering number. Cool, which does bring to the end of this session. So first off, thank you so much for sharing very, very, authentically and genuinely your journey, right? Post college, etc., and leading up to your current trajectory and traction, which is phenomenal. And once again, thank you for accepting in such a short notice. I wish you the best. Kraku is going to go places. So guys, whoever's watching it on all the social media, Kraku on YouTube, it's Kraku, CRACKU. And they have lakhs of students, subscribers on YouTube. lakhs of impression hits on the site. And also kudos to the work, because so many people are getting results, right? I've seen some of them getting 99 percentiles, which is phenomenal. So they're indebted to you forever. I wish you and all three of you the best. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. It was quite, it's very fun actually doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Chalo, man. Good night.
Good night. Bye.